and welcome to another episode of This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. I'd like to start by saying I'm not a doctor, I am not a therapist or a medical professional in any way, just a regular person trying to navigate through life and trying to navigate what's going on in here. So, I was on the topic of my high school teen years, and I was talking mostly about my home life at that time and how difficult things were getting. So the more I could stay away and the more I could find something else to do, the better. And at this time, I had my room upstairs. Now, let me go all the way back to the beginning. When we moved to Maryville, we have 5 kids, so 7 people altogether in a 3-bedroom house. And when we were young, my oldest brother had his own bedroom, and then the 2 girls, my 2 sisters, shared a bedroom. So that left me and my younger brother without a bedroom at all. So we slept on the living room floor. We would put out blankets at night, and then we'd fold them up in the morning and put them away. For a little while, we had a sofa bed that was in my mom's room, so we slept on that. So I didn't even have a bedroom until I couldn't tell you how old I was, but when my sisters got married and moved out of the house, and I was able to get one of the bedrooms. My older brother left, so my other younger brother got the other bedroom. But I felt so confined in this little bedroom. Every time I wanted to get away, this was the only place I could go. So we have this big basement, and it's not quite finished, but it's livable. I asked them because my older brother, at one time, right before he left, he had a corner of the basement downstairs for his room. And he had put up curtains for his wall and was able to hang out down there. When I asked them if I could move my room downstairs, they just flat out told me no. They said no. They didn't want me to have any of my stuff down there. They just didn't. They would never give me reasons. They would never discuss things. Whenever I would ask, it was just always no. And if you asked why, they would just say because I said, and that was it. End of discussion. There was never a discussion. So I think that was what sparked my what's the term I'm looking for? My defiantness. They would tell me no, and I would do it anyway. They told me I couldn't join band. I did it anyway. I told me not to move downstairs. I did it anyway. I just said, you know what? I need space. I'm moving downstairs. So I moved all my stuff down there. I set up my room. Once it was done, it was done. They couldn't really make me go back. Plus, I had picked up some furniture and took a big section of the basement with the fireplace, and I used the fireplace as my TV stand, which was pretty cool. And we had 2 couches and some rugs, my bed. It was a nice big chunk of space, so I could go downstairs, be in my room, and get away from everybody and escape. So yeah, and once in a while, my older brother would get himself in a pickle and would come and stay in my room, and quite regularly he'd pee himself, and we started calling him Mr. Peabody. Seriously, Mr. Peabody. And it was a laugh. Everything was a laugh. So, and then my younger brother had his room upstairs, but he was always downstairs in my room because we were either smoking or he just wanted to hang out downstairs as well. I had room for my drums. I had room for everything. Everything was set up. I had all kinds of space. It was nice. But I'm going to take a quick little break, and I will be right back with more on this episode of This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. All right, welcome back to This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. Just getting back to my teen years, my high school years, my time at home. I just mentioned my brothers hanging out in my room downstairs. And at that time, we really started hanging out a lot, but it was always just drinking a lot. The three boneheads, we were always drinking. No matter what we were doing, we had to have alcohol involved, no matter what, like all the time. And we had, like I had mentioned before, we had gone to parties, we'd go and see bands, we were playing in bands, we would try to get out and hang out with our other friends as much as we could. We knew a guy that had a lot of land and he would have big parties in his backyard and sometimes have bands, and it was always a good time. Um, and during that time, my first car broke. Went to a party, of all places, and when I went to go home, the car wouldn't move. Apparently, the transmission dropped. I really don't know what that means because I am not a car guy, but all I know is that the car wouldn't move anymore. So my dad got rid of that car. And when it came time for graduation, they gave me a choice. I could either have an open house or I could get another car. They would buy me a car. So of course I chose the car because I need my freedom. I need to be able to get away. But my sister ended up letting me have a party at her house. So I had, a few closer friends. It was not a big party, but it was, pretty pretty good handful of friends. It was close friends and friends of friends too. And yeah, we all had drinks and we were all hanging out. Some people got a little rambunctious and broke their desk. I don't know how it happened, but it was really the first time I noticed how annoying drunk people were to me. It was really the first time I had just kind of paid attention because when I was younger, I would just drink and drink a lot. It was always it was kind of a joke. Like I would get there and I would drink as much as I could, as fast as I could, and then I would pass out. And I would see pictures of me sleeping on the couch while everybody's having a good old time, and that made me realize, wow, I'm just going too fast. I need to slow down. So, you know, slowing down, you kind of pay attention to people, and yeah, I just really, really noticed how different people were when they drank. And my dad would drink, but it was, once in a while he would get like super drunk and he was so annoying. He'd make me take his shoes off. And then he would do this thing where he'd arch his foot so you couldn't get the shoe off. And he would laugh at you. He was laying on the floor. It was frustrating. So dealing with drunk people is kind of challenging for me. Um, Kind of weird considering my last occupation. But yeah, we just tried to get by until we got out of school. I was a super strong C plus student. I just did the bare minimum to get out. All I wanted to do was get out. I didn't want to go to college, which I kind of wish I did. I wish I had a little more ambition and a little more motivation to push myself. Because I think I believed everyone else when they all told me I was only good enough for heavy lifting and ditch digging. That's what they made me believe. They made me believe I was no more than that. So the first thing I wanted to do was just get out of school and find a job and make money and whatever. I never wanted to do any higher education, but now I wish I did. Um, and that was a little discouraging as well because I could have, and I'm not going to sit here and could have been this or that, but things might have been a lot different had I gone. I might have gone into a different line of work and not torn my body up and not broken my back and not abused my body in the way I did because it's all broken now and it hurts everywhere. And I can't go back to physical labor anymore. I just can't. I'm broken. I can't do it anymore. And it's just a fact of life. We all get to this stage, and sometimes you're very strong, and then you get to a point and you're not anymore. And that's, how it goes. And I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be right back with a little more. This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. I just wanted to wrap up this video with a story on how I became Rico. Now, my name is Eric, but to be quite honest, everywhere I go, there's another Eric. There's always an Eric somewhere. It is a super, super, super popular name. And it's kind of funny coming from a Mexican family. My mom decided to give me a Nordic name. I don't get it. My name was supposed to be Eric Alexander. Somehow I ended up with no middle initial because it didn't end up on my birth certificate. So legally, I have no middle name. But Eric Alexander is not quite Mexican. When my boys were, when we were still pregnant, we came up with the names. And when I told my mom the names, she kind of scoffed and said, "Those aren't Mexican names." And I just looked her in the eyes and I was like, who are you looking at right now? Do I have a Mexican name? No, I do not. So, you know, okay, but I wanted to get back to, I'm sorry, I got off track. I wanted to get back to the Rico. So, growing up, my name's Eric. In high school, I had a mullet. Those of you that know me, that were there, that you guys know, it was in my high school picture. But once we all graduated, I decided to just let it grow out. But the front was getting shaggy and it was getting in my eyes. So I started tying it back with a bandana because it wasn't long enough to tie in a ponytail. So I would go out and have this bandana tied around my head with my long hair. And all of a sudden, here comes this music video with this guy with long hair and a bandana tied around his head singing about Rico Suave. And, those familiar with the song, it was pretty popular song at the time. It was everywhere. So my friends just started calling me Rico Suave. And they just would call me that when they'd see me with the bandana. And it just kind of stuck. I joked that it was like, all right, my name's Eric. If you just take off the E and add an O, then I'm Rico. It's, it works for me. And I decided to make Rico my stage name. When I would go out and play bands, I turned my name to Rico Timbali, which is still on my Facebook page, which I still use for my, my everything. Rico Timbali, except I spelled Timbali with a Y. And that became my stage name. I used to joke like, if I did something crazy or stupid on stage and someone asked me about it, I could say, no, it wasn't me. That was Rico. Rico did that. Rico did that. But that also made me realize, I think at some point, I look back, Eric was the guy that sort of was what everyone else wanted me to be, wanted him to be. And he tried conforming himself to be that, to be what they wanted. And he tried, and he compromised himself to make them happy, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Rico was the imposter, whereas, I'm sorry, Eric was the imposter. Rico is the real me. So I think at some point I kind of stopped being Eric and I became Rico, and I insist that everyone calls me Rico, and that's my name now. That's all I answer to. I don't answer to Eric anymore. I just don't, and that's okay. And that's okay. It made me realize, and this is something that's more of a recent realization, but it made me realize it's more important to just be yourself. I'd rather just be myself and be disliked than try to please these people and still be disliked. I'd rather just be myself. And I finally decided that I'm just going to be who I am. I'm not going to be anybody else's version. I'm not going to be anybody else's example. I'm not going to be anybody else's perception anymore. I am going to be true to myself. And I'm only going to be true to myself. I'm going to do what's right for me. I'm going to do what makes me happy. And I didn't do that ever. I gave up everything emotion wise to make sure that everybody around me was happy. Now, times when I was married and I had my kids, of course, and I would do it again. I would give everything for them. But at the same time, I gave up myself and I lost sight of who I was. I was her version of me, not me. And I did that too much. I did that way too much, where I just gave up who I was for someone else, but not anymore. That was Eric. This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. So I'm going to wrap up this video and say once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for following all of it, subscribing. Please like, share, subscribe. Please make sure that you tell everyone. Make sure that someone out there might relate, might know what it's like. I know I'm not the only one. I always thought I was for the longest time, and that's why I was never really able to talk about it, because I thought I was the only one going through this kind of stuff. And just because the people close to me aren't having the similar situation doesn't mean people aren't having it at all. And it took me a long time to realize a lot of these things. I'm a really late bloomer. I really am. It took me a long time to realize a lot of things. And it's because I don't feel like I was able to think for myself. I thought for others, or at least I thought what they would want to make them happy. And it's a good thing to want to make other people happy, but when you make it everything and then you give up yourself, you start to become resentful. And then suddenly you don't want to do it anymore because you feel unappreciated. But now that I'm Rico, I'm going to keep going. Wanted to give up, but I didn't. And I'm still here. And I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going forward. And I'm going to keep making these videos for as long as I can. And again, I thank you for your support. I thank you for your love. I love you all. And I will be back very soon with another episode of This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. Thanks for watching. Bye.